Much pleasure to officially invite our esteemed guest, Mr. Ted Waitt, founder and chairman of the...
Thank you, Minister, for your leadership. Thank you, Minister of Fisheries. I really am going to have a good time with you. We had a great time today as well. And Minister of Environment, I really enjoyed our meeting today. And thank you for your leadership. And I want to thank the government of Fiji for its leadership in ocean conservation. You're the first country really to commit to a full 30% protection, and you're really leading the way for many other countries. And that leadership means a lot to us and a lot to other places around the world. You know, I've had a personal relationship with Fiji. I remember my first trip here in the Sawa Islands, and I was on my boat, and I remember sitting there and saying, I'm the luckiest guy in the world to be here. It's just an amazing place, and I just felt so special. And then I came back in 2014 and made a trip to the Lao group, and again had one of the just best days of my life. I had some of the closest friends and family, and it was just a magical place. You know, the people, the elegance and the grace. I was treated so well today with the garlanding and the kava ceremony. It's just a magical place that has an incredible place in the world, and truly has a leadership position, I think, on the global stage in terms of ocean conservation. And I think a lot of what happens here is going to be viewed in other places around the world, and particularly in this region, because you truly are a leader in the Pacific region. You know, we started this Blue Prosperity Coalition movement to do marine spatial planning and to really partner with governments out of 15 years of hard experience and a lot of mistakes and a few failures, but learned that it only works properly if we're partnering with governments, if they're taking the lead. This is your project. The Fijians understand their waters, understand their ocean, understand what to do better than we do. We're just providing the technical resources and the assistance to allow you to develop a plan that's truly sustainable and truly holistic, that benefits not only the environment, because a lot of times people look at environmental programs as somebody's losing something, you're taking something away from somebody, and we don't feel that it has to be that way. I think it's something that gains for people for generations to come. I think we're working for the next generation and the next generation, and people have to benefit. So it's about building up the economy and the environment at the same time, and working together with the local communities, working together with all the stakeholders to develop a plan that's really a holistic plan that can be sustainable and can stand the test of time. And these things take time, and they take hard work. So I thank you, ministers, for your commitment to this process, because it is time consuming, and it is a long-term process. We commit for at least 5 years, and a lot of times it takes longer than that, and we're here for the long run. When we do something like this, a member of our board looked at me one time and he said, "What's your exit strategy?" And I'm like, there really isn't one. We're here to make sure that you're successful, because it's your ocean, it's your plan, you're the ones in charge. We're just providing the resources, technical, human capital, and financial capital to make sure that you're successful and your oceans are managed sustainably for the benefit of everybody in the long term. So thank you for having me. We're honored and humbled to be a part of this process and to help this magical place do what it can, be the best it can be in a way. You've done a lot already. And I just can't wait to learn more about it. You really have done a lot with a lot of your marine protected areas. There's been a lot of work done by a lot of the NGOs. You're really doing a lot, and I think I felt a real desire to accelerate that and to pull things together, and that's what we're just honored to be able to help in any way we can. So thank you, everybody, and thank you for having us here.
The Honourable Minister for Fisheries, the Honourable Minister for Environment and Waterways, Mr. Ted Waitt, founder and chairman of the Waitt Foundation, members of the Blue Prosperity Coalition, Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, Bulavinaka, and a very good evening to all of you. As you know, this week has been a very, very big week for us. Our borders have just reopened for tourism for the first time in almost 2 years. Each of you from the Waitt Foundation and the Blue Prosperity Coalition are among the first to enter the country through our new protocols. And we're glad to connect you here in person rather than in Zoom to address the connected challenges of ocean health. And in fact, on Wednesday morning, when we were flying from Nassori to Nadi to meet the first plane arriving from Sydney, we saw the Waitt Foundation private jet already landed at Nassori Airport. So I was glad to see you there. Ladies and gentlemen, it's important that you each see for yourselves, those of you who have come from overseas, exactly what you're working with and to work with us to help preserve what we intend to preserve. From the shore of Suva Harbour, we have a small glimpse of the very large patch of the Pacific blue that falls under Fiji stewardship. All in all, our EEZ encompasses 1.3 million square kilometers of ocean. That's 3 times the land mass of the state of California. Within that area lies 3.5% of the world's reefs and the 3rd largest reef system in the world. Across our 110 populated islands, 75% of our population live within 5 kilometers of the ocean. For centuries, this of course has been a blessing. But without urgent action to address the threats our ocean has come under, it can fast become a challenge, a very huge challenge, and indeed it can become a curse. The rising seas, ocean acidification, bleaching reefs, collapsing fish stocks, and ocean-based pollution, Fijians have a front row seat to it all. And we don't face these risks alone. These threats to the ocean are so extensive that more than 40% of the world's ocean has already become severely affected. Sadly, we know the worst is yet to come. If we breach the 1.5 degree threshold, or God forbid, fly past the 2 degrees of global warming, we'll see massive sea level rise, the migration of vital fish stocks, and lose 99% of our reefs. Imagine, ladies and gentlemen, that tragedy. The world's richest source of biodiversity, built over millennia, gone in a generation, along with the food, the jobs, and environmental services they provide. We say all of this knowing that we're only preaching to the converted. I also know most Fijians are tired of playing the victim. We're here to talk about blue solutions and blue prosperity. That's an inspiring story in itself, one that our people want to be a part of. They want to lead by example in building a sustainable blue economy. And they want a new relationship with nature, including with the ocean we've relied on for generations. Indeed, we see it as nothing less than our duty as a large ocean state to remain at the forefront of ocean protection. We are entrusted with an enormous piece of humanity's greatest resource, and the world counts on us to protect it. And we are doing so upon a large and a strong legal foundation. Fiji finalized our national ocean policy earlier this year, which lays out our strategic vision to achieve 2 key aims: the 100% sustainable management of Fiji's EEZ, or Exclusive Economic Zone, and the allocation of 30% of our waters as marine protected areas. That may seem a tall task, and ask, indeed, given the sheer enormity of our ocean. But we believe the scale of this effort is an opportunity disguised as a challenge. Through a cross-cutting and programmatic approach, as opposed to a project-driven approach, we are creating that opportunity from the deep seabed, where we banned mining, to the high seas, to our reefs, to our mangrove and seagrass fields, to our coastal watersheds, as well as to our dozens of rivers across our vast interior. We're revitalizing these ecosystems, restoring them and building their resilience. We're exploring ocean climate action. We've joined the United Kingdom 30 by 30 initiative, and we are working with the Carbon Market Institute and Conservation International to map Fiji's blue carbon stocks and develop a national carbon market strategy. And now we have a chance to do even more. And we'd like to thank the Ministry of Environment and Fisheries for joining us in this new partnership alongside the Waitt Foundation and the Blue Prosperity Coalition. The signing of this memorandum tonight is another fundamental step towards a better, bluer, and more sustainable future. And we're grateful to you, Ted, for putting your time and resources behind a cause that we know means as much to you as it does to any other Fijian. We all understand that the greatest good we can achieve in our lifetimes is to protect the earth, the one home we have, and undo the decades of reckless damage done to the natural world. We have the knowledge and the wisdom to do much better by nature, and in doing so, do much better for ourselves and our children, and indeed our grandchildren, as Ted referred to. This effort is far too important for any one of us to go it alone. Just like the climate crisis, the lines defining the borders of the ocean are human-made. In reality, the world's blue economies are one connected system, from the lakes of the Americas to the beaches of Italy, from the rivers of India to the reefs beneath the Red Sea, from the ice caps to the islands of the Pacific. It is impossible for any one country or any one organization to address all of the challenges the oceans face. But through a global blue coalition for action, we stand a chance. Because like the climate crisis, as we share the risks of the ocean's challenge, we can also share in the solutions. Solutions that protect ecosystems, support sustainable management, and even tackle the impacts and the root cause of climate change. That is why Fiji launched an ocean pathway during our presidency in COP23 to bring global recognition to the ocean climate nexus in the UN climate negotiations. Last month in Glasgow, we finally succeeded in securing a recurring dialogue on oceans that granted due recognition of oceans in climate discussions. Now it's up to us to pick up the ball of ocean climate action and run with it. But to truly succeed, Fiji's commitments must become the world's. We believe our most lasting contribution to this effort extends far beyond our patch of Pacific, because we believe that our example can inspire others. We have seen before that ideas and projects that start in our islands can be scaled up around the world and indeed be replicated. And we have the plans and the potential to be that beacon for sustainable innovation and for responsible blue development. Thanks to the Waitt Foundation, we now have another key partnership as well. And we commend you all for being here, your team for being here, all of you here at this event tonight for standing with us, and for helping to make a defining difference for the security and prosperity of countless generations to come. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much, and have a good evening. Thank you.
Please come. Please.